Hello and welcome. Here we are again, the Marianne and Corinna duo, or the Marianne and Corinna show, whatever we want to call it. And today we have a really interesting subject, the whispers of possibility. Can you hear them? And Marianne, you start off today.
Thank you, Karina. And hello again for our show or whatever it will be. And how much fun can we have today with everything that is coming up? So, yes, we spoke about yesterday the whispers of possibilities. And now I would introduce it even more expanded as the whispers of the universe of possibilities as what is going on in my world the last week and even up till today is those whispers are so loud now because I'm willing to listen and I'm willing to hear them. So whispers are becoming louder, and at the same time it becomes more clear that, whoa, if we are willing to be everything we are the universe of the possibilities. And the whispers of the universe is really telling us, do you know? Do you remember? Those possibilities are here. You can be them, you can actualize them, and etc., etc. And for me, at least, Karina, I can say the last few days were really turning those whispers, all those whispers were turning my reality, my world completely upside down, as it looks like everything is falling apart, everything is coming down. Where in truth, when you really are willing to be present with it and hearing those whispers, it's more likely, how would it be? Would it be if you would allow those possibilities and go and be with that energy of what is truly possible, as we are in so much change all over the world, and it has an impact on ourselves. Does it have an impact of controlling it, letting it stay small as we for yeah how many lifetimes lived small? Or are we really willing to go with what also in nature shows that there is so much more possible if we allow ourselves to explode and expand and explode and expand and go and go and go. So that is something up in my world. How is it in your world? In your world lately?
Uh, for me, it's really interesting. I've become aware lately a few times of the whispers and chose to follow them. And the other day, I was sitting with a choice, and there was this up front in the face, don't do it, don't get out of your comfort zone kind of energy. But there was this that for the first time I could perceive in the back, that whisper, that invitation. What if you go with this? What would that create? And hearing it, I chose to go with that whisper. And it was so light. And initially, I went into what we tend to do when we use access consciousness tools, what is heavy, up front, and
Yeah,
then what is light. And it was so true. But I have to be willing to hear the light whisper and not
yeah,
the shouting.
Yeah. And with this green, it is so light, as I experienced similar things the last
Mhm.
days. And even that lightness, it is in that moment still a whisper,
Mhm.
the whisper that is loud at the same time. It is so something, yeah, it is an invitation also.
Yeah.
And that invitation of that lightness is something where I catched myself in the first 2 days of it, when it was happening, that I went in a more subtle control, as making myself, hearing myself saying, yeah, but I am choosing it. And I was choosing the whisper and the possibilities of what there was more in front or in the back, as you can call it. And at the same time, that subtle control was there still in a way. So it was really asking to be present, and every time again checking in about the lightness and the heaviness. And then by checking in every time again, that whisper could become louder, in a way more clear, as yes, it is
Yeah.
really an invitation for me to step up, to choose different, to choose more of me, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that
And
what you experienced also with that lightness, heaviness?
it definitely was an invitation. And because it was that invitation to explore something,
Mm,
uh, I chose it. It was not
yeah,
even a question. And what I'm guessing is that the more we allow those whispers to be present in our life, the more we are choosing those whispers, the, the more they may be present, the louder, quote unquote, they may become, as you talked about, that it is more obvious
yeah,
that there is that whisper. And so, in a way, we create what we are willing to choose. Not this from the subject perspective, but from the difference between the loud, solid, in your face kind of awareness, or that quiet little voice
yeah.
that invites us to more.
And could it be, Karina, when I say it is a whisper, it is silent and loud at the same time, that it is also something that we already were asking to the universe to let it show up?
Yeah.
And then it comes, but it never shows up the way you think it would show up. So there is also that thing of, I'm aware of it, but still, I'm not really going with you, or want to know what it truly is. It's not that it is over an amount of time, of days, of weeks. I'm not speaking about that. It can be only in a minute or in 10 minutes, whatever it is. But we are not really already, or I can speak for myself, it is still keeping be present, 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 present. And the whisper is subtle and at the same time loud enough, because it is that invitation, but also that energy that I requested and was inviting.
The energy that each one of us was requesting in a way in the situation. And what if the universe still allows us choice?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And it's only based on, as I said before, what we are choosing. Are we congruent in our choices with what we're asking for?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the universe can say, oh, you really mean it. Okay.
Yeah. And that's what you mentioned here, that congruency is so, yeah, important. It is
Mhm.
really important to actualize whatever the request also was.
Yeah.
The train left the station, I would say something about, and it already left. Wow. Yes. Okay. Whatever it was, it came across and it went. It left the building. So if it is really to say out loud, then it will come back. So go
Yeah.
ahead.
That's an that's an old saying that I know from Germany. If it's important, it'll be back.
Yeah. 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 I grew up with a similar
Yeah.
expression also, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really the question that I'm sitting with right now is how can we invite more of those whispers?
It came back.
Okay, good. Before it leaves the station again.
It was about that ease, because we can choose to hear,
Mhm.
to go with it, to follow it. And at the same time, if we are present with it, then we can also recognize and acknowledge that it is an energy that matches our request. So, what is the ease at that time? Is ease following it, even it is really, really uncomfortable?
Mhm.
Or is it, yeah, choosing for the more comfortable thing, and then it becomes complicated and sore or whatever it is contracted. So what do we do or choose there also? Because yeah, we have choice always. It's
Mhm.
not because of the universe is whispering or nature is whispering. For me, sometimes there is a slightly difference when, because the earth is also part of the universe, I know, but there are slightly different whispers when it's really directly from earth to me or the universe. I don't know if that makes sense for you, but that's how it is for me.
Yeah, and I guess let's be honest, we all experience those whispers in a different way.
Absolutely.
And in the way I look at it is, it is the beauty of the universe, the beauty of the whisper, the beauty of the earth whispering, that they know which energy is required to get our attention without being loud, still
And
being
isn't
a
that
whisper.
magical?
Yeah.
Isn't that magical that
Yeah.
really universe, earth, birds, whatever it is that is bringing us a whisper, know exactly what the vibration requires to be, the
Yeah.
frequency, the way it's delivered.
Mhm.
It's that's magic.
And, if we take that one step further and acknowledge that the earth, that the universe knows us,
Yes.
how is that?
This does remember me now, Karina, as you speak. I can remember the first time I asked Earth, what do you know? Oh, wow, something is really happening now. And it's hearable in my voice, but it was really, Earth, what do you know about me? And universe, what do you know about me? And then really sitting. in that moment and receiving. And it's not cognitively that, yeah, that I can say this or this or this or this, about me, but
It
that
is that
communion,
open.
that interaction, that receiving, that goes beyond mind, beyond computation. We can't explain it. And that's the beauty, as when you ask it, it comes to you within a complete different way than it comes to me,
Mhm.
because Earth knows how to communicate.
Yeah.
Do we? Oh, wow. Is it true? Do we humans really know how to communicate? Or do we think because we have language, spoken language, we know how to communicate?
I remember uh, someone talking about that spoken language is already one step removed
Hmm.
from the energetic language.
Yeah, yeah. That's my experience for myself also. Yeah.
It's clearer, and spoken language, from my experience, I can only translate the energy into my view of the world, into
Yeah.
my view of what it means, which may not be what the earth or the universe, what the energy is truly saying.
Yeah. And there comes an interesting question from also with one word, for example, gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
When we ask ourselves, what is gratitude for me? Then we allow ourselves to tap into the energy, not only from, as you say, what we can put into a word or hear from,
Yeah.
yeah, or point of views, etc. It is, and for me, sometimes I love to play. I love to play with words also, as the energy with words.
Yeah.
That word, and show me all the energies that are available for me to receive.
And that is the point that you're just making. The point that I wanted to make is how often are we operating from a general truth, and yet your interpretation of the energy of gratitude may be somewhat different
Yeah,
than my interpretation of it, what it means to me, how I live gratitude, how I be gratitude. And for me, there is a beauty in it because it allows the diversity of all of us. And I'm also aware how much people want to have this is what it is.
yeah, but we grow up with that. It
Yeah.
is, as you say, in school also, that there is nothing else possible. You
I
can't come
know.
up with something different. And if we really are willing to live from diversity, as each one is unique and get something different. And that is what I love about our conversations we have here and outside of this life, is that going back and
Fourth,
forward, as, yeah, you know something about what it is for you, and then telling this, and then I receive something out of that energy that is for me something, and then I come out with that, and there it is growing and growing and growing, and that allows also that even one word can expand so much that you catch yourself in the insanity when you want to stick with only one way to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And that you exactly addressed the richness in having a conversation where we where our aim is to be as conscious as possible, as aware as possible, how we uh, support each other, because what one says is triggering an awareness in the other, which then when they speak to that awareness triggers something, and it is really a beautiful dance in a way that
yeah,
is taking place and that allows us to go deeper, wider. I don't know, how we want to talk about it, but to increase our own awareness. And then also, awareness, how often, at least for me, awareness was a momentary event. And as we have those conversations, awareness becomes more a continuous
yeah, yeah,
state of being.
yeah. And the image I got with that was like visiting a castle or something big. Yeah, let us stay with a castle, and you don't know it. And the castle is as the conversation, it's our conversation. And then you open the door of one room, and I'm coming out of the other room, and then we meet, and then we share what there was in the one room and then the other. But then that brings us, oh, but we have here also another room we can explore.
Yeah,
And that leads us to the under layers often and more deeper
yeah,
in, and also upstairs. It goes everywhere around, and that joy of exploration is something I really love,
mhm,
yeah, to be with also. And the more there is to explore, the more you explore, the more there is to explore. As well, many years ago I said,
yeah,
and it was in my awakening that I said, wow, the more I start to know, the more I am aware of how less I still know. It is, you expand, and at the same time, it is becoming aware how much more there is truly possible.
yeah,
And that exploration is so much fun. And it is, as you say, also where you start, because we start all in a different point at a different moment at a different time. It doesn't matter. It is more like in those moments. And then, oh, yes, there is an awareness. I receive it or not. And then you put it aside and you go on with your life. And then there is another one. And then there is another one. And as we are going now in today, as we are here, it is like ongoing. It
mhm,
doesn't stop any longer. It is really living as conscious as it is already available, and we are allowing ourselves, knowing that there is always more consciousness
yeah,
to receive and to be.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And there is also, uh, I just connected to or got the awareness of how much people dislike change. And change is something that creates a seemingly lack of control. And how much is exploration inviting the change? Because on some level, why would I want to explore something if I'm not willing to implement that and be that, how that shows up in my life, what that means for my life. And for me, change, there is this, oh, you have to change because it's spiritual and it's this, that, and the other. But exploration almost has that playful component where my child, my being that can play, that is willing to play, uh, can explore, and then the implementation just automatically happens. There is
Yeah.
no suffering, there is no pain, there is no difficulty or whatever we associate with change.
Yeah, and could it also, what this brings up for me now in kind of awareness, knowing I let it where it is as we choose now to explore, and that living as conscious as we
Mm-hmm.
already can live and choose, knowing there is always more, going with that change, that is a constant change going on, as though people as we perceive and know, and weren't we once in this lifetime even part of them also, that change was a bit suffering and yeah,
Yeah.
complicated or whatever. Is it because change is also put it in a narrow box of significance and forever,
Yeah.
and it's when you change it, it's solidifying immediately, where change is the movement, is the
Mhm.
ongoing exploration, as yeah, and then going with all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that everything is like, oh, yes, over the rainbow, and we sing and we dance all the time. No, ease can also including discomfort, can
Mhm.
also including some contraction in a way, because it is some movement required at some times to go through that, yeah, uncomfortable and complicated, whatever it is, by not complicating it.
I just want to show, obviously, someone is liking what we're talking about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So at
And
least we know it is a contribution for at least one more person
and
outside of us.
what I wanted to say, what I became aware of, is when we talk about exploring aspects in our life, it's actually not done. There is no end point. There is a continuous, because as I explore and become aware of and change as a result of that, there is new layers that I can explore.
Yeah.
And it's a continuous journey in a way, and a continuous movement. So uh, for me, there is just a tremendous amount of gratitude
Yeah.
for that, and for the whispers, for the invitation of the whispers. And are we really willing to accept them?
And thank you for bringing this in, Karina, because it brings in also that often, and perceiving even more, that this never ending story, as we go with it, it's bringing us joy and that exploration of going on, and there is more, and what is there more to receive and to explore and to, yeah, to discover more and more. And then there is also the other side of, ah, it is always something new you have to go through and to learn and to receive and to have. It never stops. Yeah, and then I'm there and I say, oh, wow, and I'm so happy that it never stops.
Yeah.
Because the day that it stops, that's the day I really died. And it's not only dying from leaving this body, but really choosing to,
Be unconscious,
yeah, to be unconscious.
at
Yeah,
least
that,
unconscious, if not
yeah, that is
anti-conscious.
what a
Yeah.
joy to spend same time. Thank you, Miriam.
Thank
Yes,
you
let us
for,
have a lot of fun because
yeah.
for me, even I wouldn't have said this perhaps a year or 4 or 5 ago, but every day it becomes more and more joyful. Even now, in those late days, those last 4 or 5 days, it was in a way, can I call it darker, as there is a lot of compact energies of going through, of becoming clear of, and it has all to see with control and choosing the whispers, but then still at the same time going against what you are choosing. So it's not really choosing, but it takes some exercise in a way and a lot of question and being present. So that's what I'm calling the dark side, even it isn't dark, but even then within that, yeah, way of being with everything, still there is joy because I'm choosing it. Still there is, how does it get any better than this in this moment? Where is the joy? How much fun can I have with this? And choosing that again and again is also leading to a faster way of movement as the ease.
It becomes
Yeah,
easier
yeah,
to
yeah,
go there. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And as we are now with Earth, on Earth, in the world, with massive, massive ongoing changes, as Earth is also changing.
Hmm.
She is really showing us, hmm, all of you thought, all of you in general, not of the exception speaking, but oh, you thought that the Earth as you wanted to be and take it for granted that that is the only thing that exists. Well, what else is possible? Let's go. Let's
Let's
let's invite.
explore.
Let's explore. So we
Yeah.
explore together. And how does it get any better than this?
Yeah. But how much of a change is already in the fact that if we stop resisting it,
Yeah, that.
if we're just willing to go with it, go with the flow, and allow it to wash over us.
Yeah. And as what's happening now for me is also becoming aware of where I even slightly calculated or projected or defined or concluded what it wanted to be as I was going.
Ah, yeah,
Now knowing as, whoa, but I was asking all already for more and greater.
yeah,
So it's normal. It's the ease that the universe has to come through to me with the whispers as saying, yeah, remember, you are asking this, and the energy of which you are asking it, that is congruent. And now it is here. What are you going to choose? And then it looks like, oh, yes, but there is something greater possible. So let my head go aside here and take a step up. Yeah, a step aside.
Here's a great question is what if there is no stopping, no popping, only being consciousness? And being consciousness is something that, in a way, continuously evolves.
Yeah.
There, when I remember when talking with people, it's sort of like, oh, then I'm conscious, as if consciousness has an end point. And at that point, you just, yeah, okay, how much have you defined consciousness without allowing consciousness to be what consciousness is?
And there you catch something as that when I changed that in my expressions and going with it, I switched between I am and I be, as
Yeah.
though being, I be conscious. It's not from I be that endpoint. No, I be in every moment the
Yeah.
consciousness I already choose to be.
Yeah.
And what else can I choose to become even more so I can be more?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that difference as I am for me energetically is was really a great shift that it made as the I am slightly for me was something still slightly separated from everything I be. And when I started to be, it was really, for me, it is like immediately my body is included. Immediately everything of me is included. As I am, it's weird. It's how it works for me, and it doesn't have to work for you the same way. But it was something I noticed in the energy that was making a big shift. And perhaps it came across with the affirmations. I never got affirmations, and affirmations most of the time going with I am, and then whatever
Mm-hmm.
you put there. Uh,
And
Yeah,
how much
go.
is in that I am dot dot dot, whatever I'm adding, how much definition is there? How much conclusion is there? And alone through the definition and the conclusion, it's already limited. It's not able to be the fullness of what it could be.
And that's the
He
energy
has that.
as you say it, I am, and the definition and the limitation, that is the energy that catches that I interpreted as a separation.
Yeah.
But it is really the same energy as when I'm going with I be, then it is endless.
Mm-hmm.
I can't perceive there the limitations. Is
Yeah.
there a limitation in it? Yeah, because I'm not really fully being of what is possible to be, of what I in truth am. Now, in truth, be. Here, I catch it immediately. For me, it's really something, yeah, that helps and helps me in being present with what I'm choosing, being present where I contract, being present is, am I being something, someone, or am I being me? Is
Yeah.
a question I often also do. And I am, I am, I am. What am I? As in I be, for me, it's more expanded. Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. It doesn't matter. It isn't important. It is what works for you and
And
staying
what are we
really,
choosing?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And if tomorrow, due to other energies or receivings of or clarity or whatever it is, awareness, I can change again and I can
Yep.
go with something different. That's the beauty of that movement of exploration,
Yeah.
that everything in every second may move, can move, is allowed to move, and we don't have to grab it as granted or whatever.
And what if the beauty of consciousness is its fluidity?
Mm-hmm. For me, it is. For me, it is. And that is also the ease, the joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're starting to have problems with our internets or my internet. I just disappeared for a
Did
second.
we overload? Did we overload with joy? You never
Or
know.
with space.
Yes.
So let's call it quits for today. And
Yes.
just as a reminder, I put it out yesterday. Starting next Tuesday, we will have a slightly different title and it's more adapting energetically to where we already have been going. And we'll see what we're going to talk about next week. And until then, have a ton of fun.
Yes. I will choose it.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.